Well, according to my watch, it is 4:30. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And our president today, she's unable to be here. She's a little under the weather, Miss Carla Mock, so she won't be here today. So I will be filling in for her. At this time, if we can stand for the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if we could have a moment of silent meditation, please. Thank you. I'm going to move ahead of the schedule a little bit. I just want to welcome to our board Mr. Milton Malone and also Mrs. Doretha Sanders Malone to our board. So we welcome you to our board. Mr. Norvell, I know you know. Ms. Babb has been on the board with us for a while, and I'm Yolanda Davis. I've been on the board for a long time. Our attorney,
Nelson Pichardo. Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you. I was going to try to say his last name, but there you go. And then also you might know Miss Norman Thompson. So I just didn't want to say that. So we're just so glad to have you guys on our board. And I serve as the vice chair. Carla Mock is our chair of the board, and she's out ill. I also want to announce that Mr. Fine has accepted his next appointment, so he will be on the board with us until June 1st of 2023. So just want to welcome you all to the board. Okay. All right, we'll move into our minutes from last meeting, minutes from May 20th, 2019. Has everyone had a chance to review them? Or I'll give you a couple minutes just to review them again if any questions or concerns. Any questions? All right. Can we have a motion to accept our minutes from Monday, May 20th, 2019?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, next we'll have our director's report. Ms. Thomas?
Last week, I just want to go back to last week. I got a phone call from Mrs. Malone regarding the board packets, and I did tell her that our packets are normally delivered at the board meeting, but going forward, if you want one emailed to you, when we email out the agenda for the board meeting, we can do that, and we have a chance to read through it, because most of the board meetings, we have the packets on the table, and I know that will give you enough time to go through it and review it. So if that's what you want to have happen, we can do that for you. Just ask if you give me an email for you, and I can make sure Rob will get that information to you. Okay. One of the things that we have been looking at for a while were our vacant units. We have a total of 9 vacant units. 3 of those are HUD approved. And that will be your public housing manager report right underneath it's the very first report there. As of today, spoke to Ms. Webster. She housed 1 today.
It's the one that's monthly occupancy report. It's that very first one. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. She housed 1 today at Lakeland, at Boulevard Garden, I believe. She's going to be showing an apartment tomorrow. We're waiting on a client to come in to 405. And also, I believe she said at the end of this month, she should be housing 230 Mary Hill Drive. So that will kind of take care of some of our vacancies for this month. 324 Carver Road, we ordered the cabinetry for that unit, and we're looking for flooring to replace in that unit. That's that occupancy report. There's nothing on the homeownership report scatter site. I don't believe Mrs. Combs have any vacancies in her public housing units. She has a total of three in turnkey homeownership. She has one at NL Sanders Pathway, 4 at housing development, and 2 at business activity. There's nothing going on new with Section 8. She still has a total of 12 participants searching for units. One of the things that Mrs. Keating asked that we do, and I tried to stick to that in her departure, were to get the board report for our finances a week before. I received our general ledgers on Friday, and I did this report today. So we don't have to go through the financial report today, not until you all get a chance to review it, and we can save it for next month. That way you have a chance to look at everything in here, and if you have any questions, to bring the questions back to the board. But I will keep this report until the next board meeting, because we really want to continue to look at our finances and keep a close eye on it. Lindsay was doing real good about getting the reports out to us, but this one came in on Friday, and we normally don't work on Friday, so this report made it to my desk today. So if you all want to do that, you can do that, and we can go through it now.
Was there anything in the report that stuck out?
There wasn't anything that I saw. I looked at February and March, and then I looked at the one for April. And there's nothing that's standing out that, we should question at this point, but we also want to be able to review it in part as a group to make sure everybody's on the same page with everything that's going on with the books. There's nothing new in the contractor's report. Maintenance is, they had a total of 21 work orders, emergency work orders generated. We had a total of 21 that were abated in 24 hours, which was 100%. Had a total of 46 non-emergency generated work orders. 11 of those were completed. And I believe there were a total of 12 inspections for last month. I believe that's it for that. Also, our 2018 audit, unaudited finances were submitted to HUD to pick, and they were approved. And now we're just waiting on the audited information to be approved, and then we can just submit that. I think we have it to June the 30th to get that information in. I did talk to Mr. Nazareth today regarding that, and I told him that report would be submitted before June the 30th. The lady who's doing the NDAs for us, she just had one other question, and kind of like going between the auditor and myself to try to figure that question out for her, and we can get that information in before June the 30th. I think that's it for my report.
Are there any questions for Ms. Thomas regarding the director's reports? Okay. Can we just make sure for next month that we do include that operating expenditure, that report back on the agenda? So we, yes, for April, so that it won't be missed, please.
What's that?
Do we have to have a motion?
We actually.
All right, if no other questions, can we have a approval for the director's report?
I'll make that motion.
A second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay. All right, we'll move down into our committee reports. The Personnel Committee, we met to discuss finalizing and coming up to speed on Norma's evaluation, an evaluation for her performance. And Ms. Thomas has been attending some external training, so she is a part of the review that she's going to complete for us, and we'll have that done by the end of the month. And then we'll meet as a board to kind of come up with our summary of her evaluation and have that done hopefully within the next 45 days. This has gone on for a while due to a lot of circumstances, so we need to make sure that this is done. So we might be calling you a lot to meet and just get this finalized. So the Personnel Committee has that going on. Any other committee reports? Okay, all right. We'll move into old business. The audit results, I don't know if you have any updates other than...
I did have a conversation with Ms. Roberts. I explained to her the fact that normally when an auditor is done with an audit, the board would like for the auditor to sit down with them, and she says she's willing to do that. But she's real busy right now. I don't know when she'll be able to do it, but I told her going forward, we would like to have her meet with the commissioners on her way out the door. She said, well, that's something that they normally don't do. And I guess auditors are different. I guess every auditor is different on the way out the door, so.
Is that normal? I mean, I know in the banking world, we have an audit, before they leave, they give us what we call an exit report.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think in the past, the way we've done it is have had an exit interview. But if it's because of a conflict in calendars, my suggestion would be if the board members have questions, they can write them down, and either Norma can communicate to her through those questions, and then she'll respond directly to those questions. That way, it serves as an exit interview. But yeah, I mean, I think if it's possible, it's preferable to do it in person while she's still here.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think that's just up to her.
Yeah, I believe she did meet with Mrs. Mock and Mrs. Keating during her time here, but I don't know, what
Which is common.
Yeah, so I don't know what was said during her time.
Is there any way you can ask her to give you an estimated date, and then and then from that point, I guess we'll know whether or not we need to prepare those questions and submit them to her?
Right.
I'm just afraid of submitting the questions up front and then we still not getting our exit, because I think that's important for us to know where we're going.
Or would it be proper for us to perhaps call a special meeting to have her? Is she saying, no, I won't do it, or no, I can't do it, or?
Just doesn't know when.
It's the timing.
So to answer your question, I think a special meeting to do that would be appropriate. And quite honestly too, I mean, this is contracted for a year. This is something to consider every year.
Yes.
If it's something that the board appreciates and wants, maybe we'll find an auditor that does an exit interview.
I just think it's important. Then we
Yeah,
know where we
sure.
stand. I mean, they leave and come back with a report.
It's the proper thing to do.
Exactly. It's protocol. Okay.
Maybe our conference call, because that's one of the things she said she could do.
A conference call?
That's,
Maybe schedule a conference call with the board, like a special meeting at least, so that we can know.
well, it wouldn't be a special meeting, it would just be
A conference.
a call regarding the exit interview for the audit results, and it could be done through a committee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Any other questions about the audit results? Lindsay Software Systems. Any updates on that?
I don't have any updates regarding this.
Okay.
We've been receiving all of our audits signed over, or all of the information from
April is late, but we are into June now.
Yeah, this was on the agenda, just to give some background for the board members. This was on the agenda because in the past, we've had some issues with Lindsay getting us the information that we need to complete our books in time. And at some point, I think it was maybe December, I was directed by the board to send them a demand letter requesting that information. After that, we had a heart-to-heart, if you will, and they started complying and sending everything on time. And apparently, I think April came in late.
April is late
Okay.
compared to the other
So they're still behind
1 month.
1 month, which is, it's an improvement actually, because previously
Mhm.
they were behind how many months? A lot. It wasn't acceptable. And that's when the board directed me to take action. But at this time, 1 month is reasonable for them, I think. So I guess that's the only thing to report regarding Lindsay's software system. If it still becomes a problem and they continue to be late with the information that they need to provide to us, we'll address that again, and we'll let the board know. And it's maybe, Norm, if you can explain to them, because we have some new board members, what is it that Lindsay provides to us so that we can complete our books?
What Lindsay provides to the Housing Authority are general ledgers. That's information that happened in the month that it happens. All the funding that we spend for the month and any income that we have coming in is for that general month, and that's what their general ledger. It tells a story about Housing Authority finances for that month. And that's pretty important when you're trying to balance the budget and keep your spending at a low. So that's one of the reasons why the commissioners got involved with that. I believe we're under a 5-year contract with Lindsay, and I believe one of the things that was asked for the attorney to do is to look at that 5-year agreement and the 3-year agreement they were trying to get us to sign on to last year, where the cost was lower in the 5-year contract, and I believe they're charging us additional.
Right, so the original contract was for 3 years, and there was an additional 2 that could have been added to lessen the cost. That was the incentive to go for the 5 years. At this point, I don't know if it actually has not been accepted for the 5 years. The board hasn't even voted on that. So we're still under a 3-year contract in my estimation.
It's always happened 5 years, July 20.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. It was a 5-year contract and then extended for another 5 years. A 5-year contract extended for another 3. I had it flip-flop. So that hasn't been extended. The board hasn't voted on that. And again, this is something to consider if it becomes a problem with getting some of these general ledgers reported on time. That could be addressed whenever that contract is up. The only problem is Lindsay Software Systems is one of the only companies, I think, that does these type of Michigan City housing things, at least from what I understand. Well, the director's saying that it's not. So that's good for us, because if there are other options, we may want to look at that. I was under the impression that the system that they use is something is for housing authorities, and that's why we contract with them. But if it's not, great. I mean, maybe we can look elsewhere, because this has been a problem in the past. And if it's not corrected, and it seemed like they were doing the things they needed to do to correct it, but if they don't continue down that path and they still provide these general ledgers late, then we'll probably have to find a different bookkeeping company.
All right, any questions? All right, Applegate report?
That I can't speak on. I met with our third-party auditor 2 weeks ago or a week ago, and he's almost done with our report. And what I would like to do is have him come and specifically present his third-party audit results report to each of you. That way, there's no information lost in translation between me and the auditor. So he's going to provide a report, and we are going to get a copy of that for each of you. And then we will either have a special meeting or an executive session, depends on how we view some of the things in that report. So that way, the board members, if they have specific questions regarding any audit issues, they can be asked directly of him and in a meeting. Okay? So that's where we're at with that. Tentatively, right now, we're thinking July 8th as a meeting date. That works for his schedule, and the report should be finalized, and that way it gives you all an opportunity to review that report as well.
Any questions regarding the applicant's report? We'll move down to our new business, union negotiations. Are there any updates on that? I don't have any.
I met with Jared, and Doug on June 5th. Two other commissioners were supposed to be here, but I believe we all forgot, but I did meet with them. One of the things that Jared asked me to ask the insurance company was regarding insurance, if the guys, if they were to find a suitable plan for the union employees, could they pull out? And how would that affect the housing authority? I did contact Joe Greco, who's the representative for the housing authority in Anthem. And he said that it shouldn't affect us at all. The only thing the guys would have to do is to sign a waiver stating that they do not want the insurance, but he wanted me to get that information from Joe before he presented the two policies that he currently found with the union. So I forwarded that information to him and just waiting for a response back and we can begin.
So they're asking the question, like, if the union come up with their own separate company?
Insurance.
For insurance. So why wouldn't we look at a different, I mean, is there a way that we could look at insurance for the whole authority as well?
I think this is just union employees.
Just union?
Yeah,
Okay,
just-
negotiation.
Just to give some background here for the new board members, we negotiate our union contracts every so often, right?
Every
It's now, before it was longer, every 3 years before, now we've changed it to 1 year. And the reason why is because it's becoming quite costly for us. We're the only housing authority in the state that I'm aware of that uses union to do the maintenance work. And so we love our union, we want to work with them, we try to do it yearly in order to get this done. But at some point we need to start thinking how to save, some costs as well. And that's why Norma was talking about the insurance, because that's, from negotiating with a union, that might be a way to be able to continue using a union and lower the costs. So that's why we have these discussions between us and the union, is to see what we can do in order to continue contracting them, because we like the people that work for us, and we've had a long relationship with them. They know what they're doing, and so we're trying to find a way in order to keep that alive and not have to contract it out. And so the cost benefit analysis, I guess, if you will, is to see if maybe figuring out something different with the insurance is going to be more cost effective, or if there's a different option, we'll explore that as well. So that's just some background so you guys know what's going on with the union negotiations.
So we'll just wait for an update on that then, right?
Right, so we don't have to have anything signed or in writing until when?
September 3rd.
Yeah, so we have some time. It's not till September that needs to be completed.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, we'll move on to our pending items list that's in the file. And these are items that that comes up throughout our meetings that we have target dates for, and we want to hopefully get them resolved right away. As you can tell, some of them have been on the report for a while. And we review this every month at our meetings. And I touched on the evaluation for our executive director. Is there anything on the pipeline to safety?
No, there's nothing to report on that. We're still okay there. The inspectors will be coming to do their inspection at some point, but there's nothing to report.
Okay. Our maintenance workers, any updates on that?
No.
So are we still seeking a maintenance worker?
Still looking.
And that's one full-time, I'm sorry, part-time?
One part-time.
One part-time worker. And we've had a hard time filling that position. We've advertised, we've tried to work with agencies to refer to us. So that one's been on a while. We've had a hard time finding quality staff for that position. Okay. Audit report, we touched on that. Anything else on the audit report?
No, I think we reported everything regarding that.
Okay. Policies and procedures.
We're still in the process of updating those policies and procedures.
Okay. Transfer of funds, it's, and cash management kind of go together. Any updates? I know you had some training.
We did have training, Kate did come out, she did talk to Robin. We did a cash management policy that I'm gonna forward to you and take a look at it to make sure that, everything is okay with that. I think Robin did a really good job on doing that, so I'll forward that to you also.
And the transfer of funds policy and cash management, that has to do with more of like our backroom of the accounting of how they pay the bills, how they transfer funds in the bank. So we had some updates that we needed to do, and that's just because of computer changes and staff changes. So we had some additional training to get that up to speed. Okay, and we also talked about Lindsay's software, so we know that that's a pending item that's ongoing. Okay. Any questions about our pending items list or anything that needs to be changed? All right. Okay. I didn't have any bills in my packet, so are there any bills to come before us tonight?
I believe, the committee meeting law here, we were supposed to discuss, and it didn't happen.
Okay. So does the personnel committee need to review this?
Yes.
Does it need to be reviewed? Can it be reviewed outside of a meeting, or can we? Okay.
Mark suggested that, tomorrow evening, take a look at that after the HDI board meeting.
Okay.
If it all comes through.
Okay. We have a resume of a possible candidate that the personnel committee will need to review. Hopefully we can see if this person qualifies. So we'll review this tomorrow
It's
after.
going to be a contract, not an employee.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So just so you guys understand, this is a possibility, and so the committee needs to review a resume and application, and then if the committee feels appropriate, they may bring that to the table so the full board can vote on it.
All right. Public comments. I see that we have someone here with us, a gentleman in the back. Do you have any comments that you would like to share with us at this time?
This time,
Okay. Can you state your name just so that we know who you are?
my name is Andrew John Kennedy.
Okay. Glad to have you here today. He's in our maintenance department? Oh, well, welcome to have you. All right. Mr. Fitzpatrick, do you have any questions for us or comments? Okay, all right. So thanks for you guys coming out to be with us today in our meeting. Any other questions, concerns? All right. I think our meeting, can I have a motion to adjourn our meeting?
So moved.
All right, second.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you see, I was trying to think of what Carl always says, all minds clear. I couldn't think of that. All right.